Hi, Greg. Good to
Hi,
see you.
Daniel. Yeah, nice to see you too, Daniel.
Well, today we were going to have a little word about how women are more fit to be transpersonal leaders on average than men are. How does that actually work?
We've got some evidence to support that. We've developed a tool called LEAPER, which is the Leadership and Emotional Intelligence Performance Accelerator, which is based on a 360 model, but it measures observed versus ideal emotional intelligence in the 19 competencies. And we've been collecting these data over the time that we've used the tool. And the latest analysis that we did in those data stems from 2020. And it turns out that women perform closer to ideal in 18 out of the 19 emotional intelligence competencies. So when you think about what is the ideal leader for the 21st century, which we talk about being the transpersonal leader, we think about being, having the humility, about having the ability to generate relationships and having empathy and all of those sorts of things. So when we look at the data from this and where these 18 out of 19 emotional intelligence competencies come from, we did a gender analysis and we compared women to men. And what we found was that out of the competencies where women score closer to ideal, the significant ones, 95% confidence interval significant, were achievement orientation, optimism, initiative, empathy, developing others, inspirational leadership, influence, change catalyst, which is incredibly important for 21st century when we're living in this VUCA world, but also conflict management and building bonds and teamwork and collaboration. So transpersonal leaders are able to think radically. So there's you have the change catalyst whilst being ethical and authentic. So these people, these women, they have emotional self-awareness, and they're naturally better leaders for the 21st century, in my view. The frustrating thing is that seems to be under-recognized by many of the organizations around the world. And looking at those characteristics, it would be good if they were built into the HR policies that organizations are looking to develop.
So, in a very short one or two sentences,
Hmm.
can you give me a sense of what this does in an organization that enables that organization to be a better organization to work in?
Well, I think if you have things like change catalyst, developing others, empathy, if you have the empathy, then you can tap in to the soul of the organization and what the level of optimism is, and also where the blocks are, how people are feeling, especially in this post-COVID environment. How are people feeling, and what needs to change in order to change things like culture to adapt to the modern age. And so all of those things really are very, very beneficial to have when you think about the requirements of the way that organizations need to be agile in the modern age.
So it sounds as if I were to paraphrase what you've said, that creating safety means people are prepared to put themselves out there more.
Uh, there certainly is the recipe there, I think, for creating an environment of psychological safety. And if you have an environment of psychological safety, then you can get the diversity of thoughts and opinions that enable organizations to tackle many of the challenges that the 21st century disruptors are bringing along.
Thanks, Greg. That's great information. I'm sure it will be valuable to lots of listeners.